Trump's triumphs. That's the focus of tonight's angle. As I close out this year, I thought it was super important to reiterate just how fortunate we were to have had a president like Donald Trump for 4 years. Now, forget the savagery of his critics, the rank media bias, and of course the controversy surrounding the 2020 election, mail-in ballots. Set that aside for just a moment. And just focus on what President Trump, against incredibly strong headwinds, did for our economy. Today, more than 6 weeks after Election Day, the New York Times, believe it or not, published a piece confirming how much Trump's policies helped our factory workers. The focus in that article was on the Carrier plant in Indianapolis. Now, it seems like a lifetime ago when in February 2016, a Carrier executive made an announcement about the fate of the storied enterprise.
It became clear that the best way to stay competitive and protect the business for long term is to move production from our facility in Indianapolis to Monterrey, Mexico.
But then, populist, pro-American worker Donald Trump made it his personal mission after he won the presidency to ensure that Carrier save these American jobs and keep its factory in the United States.
Indiana is the home of Carrier Air Conditioning, which is leaving for Mexico. That won't happen if I'm president. Carrier will not be leaving Indiana if I'm president.
You were one of the people whose jobs was saved, yes?
Yes, yes.
Do you thank Donald Trump for this?
Yes.
Did you ever think it would happen?
No. Even on Thanksgiving, when we heard that there was a tweet that Donald was talking to Carrier, I was like, no, we've already started taking measurements. They're gone. There's no way. No way. But yeah, he did it.
Oh my gosh, I watched that and it makes me want to cry. Now, almost 5 years later, its workers are logging long days, and the plant is thriving. But with globalist Joe Biden waiting in the wings, the workers now have a foreboding feeling about what the future will hold. Some of us think they're stockpiling equipment so they can close the factory later. That's a worry that has only intensified for workers like Paul Rowell, a Trump supporter who fears that after the president leaves office, Carrier management will dust off old plans to move the factory's 1,050 jobs to Mexico. Trump's the reason we have our job, and as long as he was in office, we were safe, Mr. Rowell said. We don't have the leverage anymore. Well, I'm sorry to say, the workers there, their instinct, it's spot on. China and other low-wage countries, including Mexico, they're licking their chops, eager to gobble up the last of our great American factories, and with them, good-paying jobs. They've already gotten the EU to agree in principle, that China has, to a major investment agreement. That was just announced. And now they're acting aggressively, targeting against Australia, with disproportionately massive tariffs levied by Beijing. So if Joe Biden, if he didn't want to lose to China, he shouldn't have signaled that he had every intention of trashing Trump's America First trade agenda. The EU, well, they've decided to throw in with the global winner. And with Trump out of the way, that winner is China. Now, in this scenario, the rich international conglomerates, they'll get richer. Wall Street, they'll get a lot richer too, as they all engage in ruthless global arbitrage without one whit of concern when entire American industries are dismantled and shipped overseas. Isn't globalization wonderful? You know, that's what they're going to say. They're going to say, look at all these cheap products we have. Toys are so cheap, and you can buy a pair of pants for, $4. What a travesty. Biden will merely be a passive manager of our decline as we outsource not just jobs, but our entire future. But back to Trump's triumphs. This week's stunning economic news from the Federal Reserve that was completely lost or ignored by the lamestream press. I'm talking about the Fed's projections for the U.S. economy, which, in convenient timing, exceed its projections from just a few months ago as the fall campaign season got underway. Now, we find on page 2 of this document that the change in real GDP for 2020 is now projected to be negative 2.4%. That's an improvement from the prediction of negative 3.7% in September. In other words, what will be an economic disaster for much of the world, including Europe, will be only a mild recession for Americans under Trump. Trump, the Republican governors who kept things open, and the American people saved the U.S. economy. And the unemployment rate for 2020 is projected to be 6.7%. That's an improvement from the 7.6% they were predicting back in September. Again, this figure would be much worse if we had listened to Team Lockdown. The Fed projects a booming economy over the next 2 years, 4.2% growth in 2021, and the 2023 unemployment rate should be down, they say, to 3.7%. In short, President Trump has effectively solved the problems created by the pandemic. He said we'd develop a vaccine by the end of the year, and we did. He said we'd ensure that the cure wasn't worse than the disease, and looks like he did that too. He's left Biden with vaccines and an economy that is set to boom. If that boom doesn't happen, we're all going to know who's to blame. Now, it's odd that all of these numbers, these revised projections, they got so much better after the election. Isn't that weird? Now, it have been nice for us, I think so, the voting public, to have known these incredible facts and revised numbers before the election? You bet. But we know how the media operates, highlight any and all developments that could have a negative impact on the president, and bury the good news that reveal just how difficult life would become for regular people, regular working people, once again, under Joe Biden. Yeah, we're going to be building back better, all right, but unfortunately, it will be happening in China, not here. Certainly not in places like Indianapolis, where I'm afraid that carrier plant's days are numbered. And to all of you Georgians, you're getting ready to vote, maybe you already have, in those Senate runoff races. You all should be asking yourself, which senators will be more likely to support policies that make it harder to ship jobs, manufacturing jobs, overseas? And which senators will make it easier to do so? Also, which senators will work to preserve all other good-paying jobs, including those that relate to the oil and gas industry? Well, I think you know the answer. And tonight, I want to say thank you to President Trump for what you did for the forgotten man and woman across this country and for American industry, and also for the families that don't want handouts. They want a government that works for them. They want the dignity of decent wages for a full day's work. The last 4 years are a prime example of what a president should be doing for the people. You may be brash at times, and the liberals don't like that, Mr. President, but you got things done. You put America first, and that is what's truly important. Merry Christmas to all of you, and Merry Christmas to the entire Trump family for what they sacrificed over the last 4 years. And that's The Angle.